Vivian Cole raised her champagne glass. Nina understood what some women learn too late. A good man stays when a woman knows how to keep him. Her gaze found Tiana Brooks. No one wants a divorced woman. A chair scraped behind Tiana. Han Minjun crossed the ballroom, opened a black velvet box, and revealed a black diamond. He looked directly at Vivian. "I do." Tiana had barely processed the ring before the entire room forgot how to breathe. Vivian's glass tilted. Minjun glanced at it. "Please hold that carefully. Your opinions have already spilled everywhere." Laughter escaped from 3 tables before expensive manners strangled it. Marcus Reed looked as if someone had cancelled his favorite version of reality. Tiana stared at Minjun. They had met twice, and neither meeting had included romance, jewelry, or public warfare. "What game are you playing?" His eyes stayed on hers. "The one where they stop mistaking your patience for permission." That should have felt like rescue. Instead, suspicion crawled up Tiana's spine. She had spent a year rebuilding after Marcus took the house, the joint accounts, and most of their friends. She did not need another powerful man turning her into a dramatic gesture. "Close the box." Minjun did not. "Answer me first." Tiana's smile sharpened. "You arrived at my sister's engagement dinner carrying a ring large enough to require planning permission. You answer me." For one dangerous second, he almost smiled. Marcus surged upright so violently his chair struck the marble. "You cannot propose to my wife." The word wife landed harder than Vivian's insult. Tiana turned. "Former wife." Marcus adjusted his burgundy tie and smiled. "That is what you think." Minjun's jaw tightened, but surprise never reached his eyes. Tiana noticed. Before she could ask why, every chandelier went black. Someone screamed. Glass shattered. The orchestra died in the middle of a love song, which felt less like bad timing and more like editorial judgment. Red emergency lights blinked along the walls. Guests shoved chairs aside while one man yelled because chocolate mousse had landed on his sleeve. Apparently, dessert was the final stage of civilization. Tiana's clutch was knocked from her hand. She bent toward the floor and found broken glass instead. Minjun reached her through the dark, his palm hovering near her back without forcing contact. "Stay beside me." A service door clicked somewhere beyond the tables. Then footsteps vanished into the corridor. The chandeliers flared back to life. Marcus was gone. Tiana's clutch had disappeared. The black velvet box in Minjun's hand was empty. Nina Cole stood beside a collapsed champagne tower, pale and speechless. Vivian demanded calm in the exact voice people use when they are creating panic professionally. Minjun looked toward the exits. "Co Jeho, seal the ballroom." Heavy doors locked. 100 wealthy guests reacted as if theft was unfortunate, but delayed dessert was a violation of international law. Before anyone leaves this ballroom, subscribe to Afro Korean Soulmates TV. Every subscription tells us these premium stories are landing and helps us keep creating Afro-Korean love stories where one cruel sentence can expose a family, destroy a marriage, or open a ring box nobody was prepared to see. Hotel security moved into position while the musicians resumed playing under threat of professionalism. Vivian protested that a lockdown would ruin Nina's engagement. Tiana gave her a tired smile. "You are right, mother. The thief should leave comfortably. We would hate to appear rude." Even Nina covered a laugh with a cough. Minjun stepped closer. "Your clutch contained the original foundation agreement for the Brooks Community Arts Center." Tiana's amusement vanished. "How do you know what was inside my bag?" Tiana's phone vibrated before Minjun answered. An unknown number had sent a photograph of the agreement beside a burning candle. One message sat beneath it. "Come alone." Minjun studied the geometric wall panel behind the candle. "That is the East Penthouse Suite." Only then did he explain that the agreement proved Tiana founded the center before marrying Marcus. Without it, Marcus could claim the property as a disputed marital asset and transfer it before midnight. Tiana looked at him. "Why does a mafia boss recognize hotel wallpaper?" "I own the hotel." Tiana glanced at the chandeliers and the terrified violinist still performing. "That explains the lighting. It has the warmth of a tax audit." A fraction of a smile touched Minjun's mouth. Then Jeho reported that the penthouse elevator had moved during the blackout. Tiana refused to remain downstairs. "My document, my ex-husband, my disaster." Minjun entered the elevator beside her. The doors opened onto a dark executive corridor where one suite door stood slightly ajar. The penthouse suite was empty, a candle burned beside a stack of blank paper proving the photograph had been staged. Near the open window, Tiana found the broken clasp from her clutch. Cold air moved the curtain. Jae-ho checked the corridor system and discovered the camera had been disabled with an executive access code. Only 3 people at the dinner possessed one: Minjun, Madam Han Minjun, and Vivian. Tiana stared at the names while dread settled into her stomach. Her mother's code had opened the path for the theft. They found Vivian beside the service elevator, gripping Tiana's clutch against her oxblood gown. The foundation agreement was gone. Inside Vivian's own evening bag, the black diamond ring waited beneath a folded handkerchief. Nina arrived and stopped so abruptly her heels squeaked. "Mother, what did you do?" Vivian claimed she had taken the ring to protect Tiana from accepting a proposal from a dangerous stranger. Tiana looked at the stolen clutch. "You seem remarkably comfortable stealing from strangers you consider dangerous." Vivian's confidence cracked. In a private conference room, she admitted Marcus had warned her that Tiana planned to embarrass Nina. During the blackout, Vivian took the clutch and passed the agreement to a hotel driver. The driver worked for Marcus. Tiana asked why her mother believed the man who had dismantled her marriage. Vivian said Marcus was selfish, but understood how the world worked. "So does mold," Tiana replied. "We still do not invite it to dinner." Vivian insisted she had acted to protect the family. Minjun studied her with recognition, not curiosity. Minjun took Tiana into the hotel study and finally explained part of the truth. Marcus had been acquiring properties through disputed marriages for a rival branch of the Han family. The arts center was his next target. Minjun had evidence of hidden accounts and false ownership filings, enough to freeze the midnight transfer. Tiana held out her hand. "Give it to me." He remained still. His family council would challenge any intervention in a private dispute involving a woman with no official connection to him. If you are still watching while Minjun prepares to explain why Tiana must become officially connected to him, drop the emoji that best describes your mood. Add your city and the time you are watching because his next offer makes the ring look simple. Minjun placed a contract on the desk. Madam Han would not endorse an unmarried successor. If Tiana became his wife for 6 months, he could freeze Marcus's transfer and reopen her divorce investigation as a Han family dispute. Tiana read the first page twice. This is blackmail wearing an expensive tie. It is an alliance. Alliances do not arrive with jewelry capable of paying a small country's debt. Minjun glanced at the empty ring box. He still did not explain why he had brought the ring before the theft created any need for a marriage contract. Tiana pulled the contract closer and crossed out Minjun's conditions. She kept control of her money, career, residence, public image, and the arts center. His security team could protect her, but never restrict her movement. Any staged affection required her approval. Jae-ho studied the ceiling when she called Minjun's legal team decorative furniture. Then she added one final clause. If Minjun lied about Marcus or her divorce, the marriage ended immediately. Minjun signed without changing a word. Before the ink dried, Marcus released a polished video claiming Tiana staged the proposal to pressure him for money. He called her unstable, vindictive, and desperate for attention. Tiana reached for her phone. Minjun advised waiting for evidence. She looked up sharply. Powerful men always call silence strategy when it is someone else's reputation bleeding. He absorbed the rebuke, handed her access to his media team, and ordered them to let her approve every word. Security footage from the service garage destroyed Vivian's final excuse. It showed her handing a sealed envelope to a hotel driver moments after the blackout. The driver worked for Marcus. Vivian admitted she gave him the foundation agreement because he claimed Tiana was hiding marital property. Tiana asked whether believing her own daughter had entered the discussion. Vivian insisted she was protecting the family. Tiana's laugh held no humor. "I keep forgetting I am apparently the family's natural disaster." By morning, Minjun had frozen the transfer for 48 hours, but the challenge would not hold without an official family connection. Tiana arrived at the Han estate in a burgundy trouser suit she chose herself, carrying the revised contract and refusing Minjun's offered arm. The black gates opened onto stone, water, and enough controlled lighting to intimidate the moon. "Does your family ever decorate without issuing a threat?" she asked. Jae-ho replied, "Not during business hours." Madam Han Minjun waited inside the grand hall beneath suspended gold lights. Her gaze moved over Tiana like an auditor discovering creative arithmetic. "Divorce suggests poor judgment." Tiana removed her gloves one finger at a time. Remaining in a bad marriage would have demonstrated worse judgment for longer. Minjun lowered his eyes, hiding amusement. Madame Han's mouth almost softened. Then she decided pleasure was an unnecessary disclosure and ordered them into the press salon. The engagement announcement was rehearsed like a corporate merger with better tailoring. Minjun placed one hand at Tiana's waist so carefully that it barely touched her coat. She whispered, "You look like a man returning a borrowed vase." His fingers settled more naturally. "You wrote a contact clause. I wrote a consent clause. The difference is why your lawyers need supervision." Jae-ho pretended to review equipment while Madame Han watched them with an expression that could reduce a boardroom to ash. Reporters entered, cameras lifted, and the false engagement became public. One asked when they first met. Minjun answered, 6 years ago. The room contracted. Jae-ho stepped in smoothly, explaining that their professional paths had crossed through property records 6 years earlier. Tiana kept smiling for the cameras, but her pulse struck hard against her throat. Minjun did not correct him. When the announcement ended, she asked what he meant. "A complicated file," he said. It sounded rehearsed. At the Brooks Community Arts Center, Tiana opened a locked archive cabinet and revealed certified copies of the founding agreement, donor records, invoices, and permits. Marcus had stolen the ceremonial original, not the evidence that mattered. Minjun studied the files and understood she had prepared for this fight before his proposal. "You thought I was waiting to be rescued," she said. "I thought you deserved support." "That is a graceful correction." He accepted it. Her mission had never begun with him. Nina arrived carrying coffee, shame, and a small brass key. Vivian had pressured her to keep Tiana away from the engagement dinner because divorce made the family look unstable. Nina admitted she stayed quiet because the celebration felt like the first time their mother approved of her. Tiana took the key, but not the blame Nina offered. Nina explained that it opened a locked case in Vivian's dressing room, filled with old photographs, sealed documents, and items from 6 years earlier. A restoration architect joined them to inspect the damaged auditorium. He praised Tiana's plans, funding strategy, and preservation work, then invited her to discuss another project over dinner. Minjun asked whether admiration was included in the architect's professional fee. Tiana turned slowly. Jae-ho examined a ceiling beam that suddenly required his full attention. The architect laughed, assuming Minjun had joked. Minjun's expression suggested humor had not been invited to the meeting. 2 hours later, Tiana discovered the architect's firm had been offered a larger contract in another city. She found Minjun beside the miniature stage and held up the transfer email. "You relocated a man for flirting." Minjun remained calm. His company needed expansion. "In another city. It has excellent transportation." Tiana stared at him. "That is jealousy with a relocation budget." Jae-ho coughed into his fist. Minjun denied jealousy with such dignity that even the repaired stage looked unconvinced. Minjun reversed the reassignment when Tiana objected and apologized without turning the apology into a negotiation. That small surrender unsettled her more than the grand proposal. Later, while staff restored the lobby, he brought her tea prepared exactly as she liked it, no sugar and a thin slice of ginger. Tiana had never told him. When she asked how he knew, he said he noticed details. The answer was too small for the certainty in his eyes. That night at the Han estate, Tiana followed a slow piano melody through the dark corridor. Minjun sat alone in the music room beneath rain-streaked windows. The tune struck somewhere beneath her memory. For one fractured second, she saw white flowers, wet glass, and the same black ring box resting on ivory cloth. Her hand tightened around the doorframe. Minjun stopped playing before she spoke. Fear crossed his face so quickly she almost believed she imagined it. The room tilted. Minjun reached her as her knees weakened, one hand steady at her elbow and the other braced against the doorframe so she never felt trapped. Tiana heard rain against glass. A younger Minjun flashed through her mind, his black hair wet, his hand covered in blood that did not seem to be his. Then the image vanished. "Where have I heard that melody?" she asked. Minjun said his mother composed it. He did not meet her eyes. The next afternoon, Tiana found the miniature theater stage repaired on the Arts Center work table. Every broken panel had been restored, including a tiny gold hinge Marcus snapped months earlier. Minjun stood nearby, pretending the repair required no explanation. "How did you know where every piece belonged?" He claimed he studied old photographs. Her suspicion returned. The only complete photograph of the original model was stored in her private archive, never online and never shared with donors. Tiana named the photograph. Minjun's gaze shifted by a fraction, enough to betray recognition. He said Jaeho's research team might have found it among old project files. She asked which files. He changed the subject to the succession vote. The evasion landed between them like a closed door. Tiana looked at the repaired hinge, then at the man who remembered her tea, her work, and a melody her own mind had buried. Perhaps Minjun's greatest secret was not Marcus, but her. In the Han strategy office, Jaeho opened a financial timeline and casually mentioned that Minjun began tracking Marcus 6 months before Tiana's divorce hearing. The room changed temperature. Tiana asked him to repeat it. Jaeho stopped speaking. Minjun entered from the corridor and saw the truth already standing between them. Tiana touched the honesty clause inside her handbag. "You knew before I lost the house." Minjun did not answer quickly enough. Tiana demanded the full timeline. Minjun admitted Marcus had been moving money through a rival Han faction, and exposing him too early would have destroyed a larger investigation. He believed he could restore whatever Tiana lost after the operation ended. Her laugh came out thin. "You classified my life as acceptable damage." Minjun's face remained controlled, but shame pulled at his eyes. "I thought delay was protection." "For whom?" He had no answer. She removed the black diamond ring and placed it on Minjun's desk. The soft click against the wood sounded louder than the argument. "You did not save me," she said. "You waited until saving me became profitable." Minjun did not defend himself. He simply said, "Yes." That honesty arrived too late to be noble. Tiana opened her handbag, removed the signed contract, and tore through the page containing the honesty clause. At the estate entrance, Minjun followed, but stopped several steps behind her. Security waited near the car, uncertain whether to intervene. Tiana expected an order, a threat, or one final argument disguised as concern. None came. Minjun told the guards to open the gates. Jaeho watched Tiana leave, then looked at him. That was excellent respect for her freedom. Minjun said nothing. Jaeho added, "Unfortunately, it arrived after the catastrophe." By morning, Marcus's face was everywhere. He described Tiana as a bitter former wife who manipulated Minjun for money and attention. 2 sponsors suspended funding for the arts center. Vivian called and advised silence until Nina's wedding was secure. Tiana listened until her mother said scandal could ruin the family. Then she ended the call. She had spent years being quiet so everyone else could remain comfortable. Comfort had become the family's favorite hiding place. Tiana gathered every donor receipt, construction invoice, certified deed, and recording Marcus assumed she had forgotten. She built the evidence across her apartment floor until sunrise. Minjun's media team offered help through Jaeho, but she declined. This fight had existed before the ring box and would continue without it. When exhaustion blurred the numbers, she touched the miniature stage photograph beside her laptop and remembered why the center mattered. Nina arrived carrying Vivian's brass key and a small overnight bag. She apologized for allowing their mother to turn her engagement into evidence that Tiana had failed. Tiana refused to let guilt become another weapon between them. Nina revealed that Vivian's locked case contained old medical papers, a rain-damaged photograph, and a sealed envelope bearing the Han family crest. They agreed to open it later. First, they would stop Marcus from stealing the present. The Arts Center auditorium filled with donors, staff, reporters, and community members before Marcus arrived. Tiana stood alone on the stage beside certified records and restoration plans. Marcus entered smiling as if public confidence could alter mathematics. He asked where her powerful fiancé was. Tiana looked directly at him. "I founded this place before I married you. I can save it without marrying someone else." The room answered with applause Marcus had expected for himself. Tiana presented the founding records, donor statements, and the hidden company Marcus used to route redevelopment money. Each document tightened the space around him. Marcus tried humor, then outrage, then wounded dignity, cycling through emotions like a man testing ties before court. Tiana played an audio recording of him pressuring a contractor to backdate an invoice. His smile disappeared. Reporters shifted toward him. For the first time that day, Marcus had nothing prepared. The immediate transfer was frozen. Staff embraced Tiana. Donors restored their pledges, and Nina laughed through tears. Then the legal advisor found the hole Marcus had been waiting for. A sealed marital filing still classified the Arts Center as disputed spousal property. Tiana's divorce record could not be fully verified because an earlier marriage file had been restricted. Marcus recovered his smile. "You never escaped me." Tiana noticed his hand trembled when he said it. After the crowd left, Tiana studied the sealed file notice in the administrative office. Marcus had expected the record to trap her, but his fear suggested he did not know everything inside it. The restriction dated back 6 years, long before she married him. Nina placed Vivian's brass key beside the notice. 2 different doors now led toward the same missing year. Tiana decided she would open both, even if the truth tore apart every family involved. Madame Han arrived after sunset carrying the black velvet ring box. She found Tiana alone in the dark theater and placed it beneath the stage light. The ring belonged to Minjun's mother. Minjun had removed it from the family vault before Nina's engagement dinner, before Marcus stole the document, and before any contract existed. The agreement was strategic, Madame Han said. The first proposal was not. Hope moved inside Tiana, unwanted and painfully alive. Madame Han opened a rain-damaged photograph. It showed Minjun 6 years younger beside a woman hidden behind wet glass. The woman wore Tiana's thin gold bracelet. The black ring box rested on white cloth between them. Tiana's fingers went cold. Madame Han said Vivian ordered every record of that night destroyed. A memory flashed. White flowers. Minjun's hand closing around hers. Tiana's own voice whispering yes. The memory broke before she could see what followed. Tiana asked whether she had married Minjun. Madame Han answered carefully. A ceremony occurred, a certificate was prepared, and something violent interrupted the night, but the family believed the filing was destroyed. Minjun survived. Tiana survived. Neither family survived unchanged. "Why can't I remember?" Tiana asked. Madame Han's expression hardened with grief. Because someone decided forgetting was safer than knowing. Back at her apartment, Nina used Vivian's key to open the locked case. Inside lay hospital discharge papers, a damaged bracelet clasp, and a sealed envelope addressed to Tiana in Minjun's handwriting. Tiana did not open it. Not yet. An invitation to the Han succession gala waited beside the case. She chose the confrontation first. She would hear the truth from Minjun while he still had something powerful to lose. Tiana prepared for the gala without the ring. She chose a black gown with a narrow gold African print accent, then placed her mother's sealed envelope inside her clutch. Nina asked whether she planned to forgive Minjun. Tiana looked at the invitation. "I plan to make honesty extremely uncomfortable." Outside, a black Han vehicle waited at the curb. Tiana stepped toward it, knowing the evening could restore her past or destroy the future Minjun had finally offered. The Han succession ballroom held its breath beneath immense rings of gold light. Tiana entered alone, black gown sweeping over the marble, Vivian's sealed envelope inside her clutch, and the black diamond ring absent from her hand. Council members turned. Reporters lifted cameras. Minjun stood at the raised platform with a prepared speech before him. The instant he saw Tiana, every line he had rehearsed became useless. She stopped at the edge of the central floor and waited for the truth. Minjun looked down at the speech written to secure the empire. It promised stability, discipline, and a future without scandal. Tiana's face made every sentence sound cowardly. Madame Han remained at the council table, expression unreadable. Jae-ho stood several steps behind the platform, already understanding what Minjun intended to do. Minjun folded the speech once, then again, and placed it aside. The council chairman demanded that he begin. Minjun lifted his eyes toward Tiana instead. He told the room that Marcus Reed had hidden assets, forged ownership claims, and worked with a rival Han faction. Then Minjun confessed the part that belonged to him. He had discovered the scheme before Tiana's divorce hearing and delayed exposing it because the larger investigation benefited his succession. The ballroom stirred. Tiana did not. Minjun admitted that strategy had become an excuse for allowing another person to suffer. He offered no softer language and no defense. The council chairman warned Minjun that public confession would destroy his claim. Minjun removed the Han succession pin from his lapel and placed it on the podium. He withdrew his name from consideration. Gasps moved through the ballroom like wind through curtains. One council member called the decision irrational. Minjun answered that power without accountability was merely fear wearing a tailored suit. Tiana felt the words strike the place where anger and love had been fighting for room. Madame Han watched the succession pin resting beneath the gold light. For years, she had measured Minjun by how much pressure he could survive without bending. Tonight he chose to bend rather than break someone else. Her expression barely changed, but pride softened the severity around her eyes. The rival council members mistook her stillness for defeat. Jae-ho did not. He saw the smallest movement of her chin and knew Minjun had finally become the man she could trust with power, even after surrendering it. Minjun ordered Jae-ho to release every file connected to Marcus, the rival faction, and Tiana's divorce. No conditions, no marriage contract, no demand for forgiveness. He told Tiana the arts center would remain protected whether she spoke to him again or not. She had expected remorse to arrive with persuasion hidden inside it. Instead, he gave her the evidence and stepped away from the result. That frightened her more than his control ever had, because now the choice truly belonged to her. Minjun walked down from the platform and stopped several feet from Tiana. He opened the black velvet ring box again. The black diamond caught the suspended light. But he did not kneel. He said the ring belonged to his mother, and that the first time he offered it, he hid truth inside a contract. He would not insult Tiana twice. The ring would remain hers only if she ever chose him freely. Until then, he asked for nothing. Tiana looked at the ring, then at the man who had surrendered an empire rather than pressure her again. Hope rose carefully, almost ashamed of itself. She reached into her clutch and touched Vivian's sealed envelope. Before she could ask why Minjun remembered her tea, her work, and a night 6 years earlier, the towering ballroom doors opened. The sound struck through the room. Minjun's expression hardened. Tiana turned and saw Marcus entering with Vivian beside him and an official registrar following behind. Marcus carried a sealed registry file like a weapon he believed had already won. Vivian walked beside him in her oxblood gown, pale beneath the ballroom lights and unable to meet Tiana's eyes. The registrar remained formal, unaware that every person in the room had attached a different fear to the folder in his hands. Marcus announced that Minjun's proposal was legally impossible. Tiana was still married. The ballroom erupted. Minjun never looked at Marcus. He watched Vivian. Tiana told Marcus the divorce had been finalized. He smiled with the confidence of a man who had rehearsed the next humiliation. According to the sealed record, the decree had never dissolved the controlling marriage file. Marcus claimed that made Tiana his wife and the arts center his marital property. Tiana noticed his fingers tightening around his cuff. He was performing certainty, not feeling it. The registrar placed the file on the council table and began checking the official system. The registrar's professional calm broke first. He checked the file again, then requested a second verification. Marcus demanded that he read the result aloud. The registrar looked at Tiana, then Minjun, and said Marcus Reed was not listed as her current husband. Marcus laughed once too loudly, assuming a technical error had rescued him from embarrassment. Nobody joined him. The registrar turned the secured screen toward Tiana. The active marriage record carried another name, filed 6 years earlier. Han Minjun was listed as Tiana's legal husband. The record showed a confidential ceremony, a sealed certificate, and an activation entered 48 hours before the gala. Tiana stared at the screen until the ballroom blurred around its light. Marcus stepped forward, then stopped as the meaning reached him. His marriage to Tiana had never been legally clean because another union predated it. The man who had weaponized paperwork had discovered he was standing inside someone else's trap. Marcus turned on Vivian. He demanded to know whether she had known about the earlier certificate. Vivian said nothing. Her silence answered enough. Marcus realized she had encouraged him to challenge the divorce because she expected the sealed record to remain hidden, not activated. For the first time, his anger was not aimed at Tiana. It was aimed at the woman who had used his arrogance as camouflage. Madame Han watched Vivian with the cold recognition of someone meeting an old enemy at the end of a very long corridor. Tiana turned to Minjun. Did you know? He admitted that he knew a certificate had once existed. He believed Vivian destroyed it before filing and never expected the record to become active. Tiana asked why he never told her. Minjun said the last time he tried to force the memory open, she collapsed before she could speak. His answer carried more fear than explanation. Tiana understood that he had approached this truth before, and someone had stopped him. The registrar opened the scanned witness page. Tiana could not read the blurred lines from where she stood, but Minjun's face changed when he saw the signature. The registrar named Vivian Cole as the legal witness. Tiana looked at her mother. The executive access code, the locked case, the medical papers, and 6 years of manufactured forgetting joined together at once. Marcus demanded to know who activated the certificate. Vivian ignored him. Tiana asked only one question. What happened to me that night? Vivian finally raised her eyes. Her social poise was gone, leaving a frightened mother and something colder beneath it. She said Tiana had met Minjun 6 years earlier, married him in a private ceremony, and tried to leave with him before the night turned violent. Tiana asked why she remembered none of it. Vivian's voice dropped. Because you barely survived, and when you woke up, you begged me to make you forget him. Minjun's face confirmed the impossible. The ring box closed. Comment Part 2. If you need to know what Tiana survived 6 years ago,